fight fans, to episode 68 of the Hooks In MMA podcast. We've got a great episode this week featuring Justin J-Train Gonzalez. He's fighting the upcoming Bellator card. He's got a tough match ahead of him as he looks to keep his undefeated record going here against Aaron Pico. Make sure to tune in. He'll be the third main card fight there. That one's coming live from Hollywood, Florida, Bellator 271. We're also going to be looking back at UFC 268 there from last weekend, and then previewing in our Easy Line segment. We've got the return of Max Holloway facing Yair Rodriguez. Should be a banger of a fight. So make sure you stick around for the rest of the episode and listen to our winners then. Zoni, why don't you tell us a bit more about this week's guest and maybe even talk a bit about the Bellator 270 from the past weekend there in Ireland.
Yeah, so this week, you're talking about this week's guest, right? Yeah, so just a quick thing about him. So he was an undefeated amateur, and all his fights and all his wins were by finish. He also won on the Contender Series for Dana White, and he decisioned the guy and didn't get a contract. Didn't really care, just kind of went back and then signed with Bellator after that. And he's been in LFA and a few other promotions, but has never lost. And Pico obviously has a big backing behind him. He's been getting better as a mixed martial artist in all facets. So that'll be a good matchup. Looking forward to watching that. Last weekend, our Bellator 270 interview guest, Pedro Carvalho, ended up getting the win. An upset win over a guy with over 50 fights we've had on the show before, Vishal. And the co-main was awesome. Bantamweight potential number one contender fight. James Gallagher in his home country had a huge backing with the fans, and unfortunately didn't go out for him. Patchy Mix is too long, too good, and he looks to be maybe next in line or a number one contender himself against Stotts for the championship next. And then obviously Patricky Pitbull with the win at 155. Now he owns the belt. His brother obviously vacated it so he could win, and now he owns it, which is fantastic. And hopefully Brent Primus, our guest from within the last month, will get that shot against Patricky. Overall pretty good card.
Beautiful. So I think there's lots to discuss, right? We had some updates there about upcoming, UFC 269. Sounds like Masvidal dropped out and leaves Leon Edwards hanging. What do you guys think is going to happen here? You think he finds a replacement? Do you think he gets that title shot? What do you think is going to go down?
G, you go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, my mind immediately goes to Chimaev, just because, he did just fight, but he obviously didn't really take any damage at all. So that sounds exciting again. And they've already tried to make that fight several times before. So naturally your mind kind of goes there. But I haven't gone to take a look at the chatter online too much already on it. I don't know, Zone, have you seen the comment section of any of these things? Like, what are people, is Edwards gonna be down for it, or are the fans okay with it? What are they kind of saying out there?
Yeah, so there's a mix of both, but or a mix of all those things. But I think we would all agree in here what we want to happen is Chimaev and Edwards. That makes for fantastic fight. I hate to say that the UFC's always kind of picked on Edwards, but that would be literally bullying them if they made him fight Chimaev next. Especially with Chimaev calling him out today. Leon stepped kind of away from that conversation and said, it's unfortunate. I knew Masvidal would back out, and looking forward to meeting you soon, Usman. So he's not even thinking Chimaev. And I really don't know what's going to happen here. I'm 60-40. I think the UFC is going to give Edwards the shot, but it's not going to be till March. And then the 40 would be that they give Chimaev this fight. There's no one really else right now other than Luque you could give to Edwards in December here. So Luque was supposed to be that step-in fighter. He weighed 2 pounds over, but they told him to stop because both guys made weight, Covington and Usman. So, Luque is right there, and he's just, been in a training camp kind of thing, and he's only, within 3-4 weeks of this card happening. So, maybe he's an option too.
That's a good call, actually. I was even going to maybe say, like, we were talking for Chimaev next. Some of the potential matchups he could have. I guess was Wonderboy, was he booked for something? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Wonderboy, but I know Magny was calling Chimaev out, kind of. He was saying, like, nobody wants to fight you, man. I will, though.
Or Burns, because Burns didn't have anything either, right?
No.
So
no.
Because I'm looking, like, they haven't scrapped yet. Edwards did beat Luque back 2017.
Yeah.
And obviously looks, I can't see the scorecards here, but the odds were basically, it was a pick'em fight. So yeah.
The UFC, sorry to interrupt, the UFC could, like, because of what they say about Edwards, they could be like, well, Edwards, we could give you Usman here, but that'll be your second time fighting him. In order to do that, you got to fight Luque for a second time and give him a chance, and then make him earn it against Luque. That could be a possibility. They fucking hate Edwards. I don't know why, but
yeah, and that was like the same time. Well, sorry, it was like within a year or two that he lost to Usman.
Yeah.
But then beat Luque. But yeah, I guess Colby's hurt. I heard his leg was all messed up, but like him versus Edwards would be pretty good too, I would say. But that doesn't fit the time frame. But
yeah, it would be good down the line for sure.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to follow, so stay tuned on that, folks. Let's talk about that card, because I know we were talking in our group chat, like that was one of the craziest cards, specifically the Chandler Gaethje. I've gone back and watched it, and it was just like my jaw's on the floor every time I see him exchanging. So yeah, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, and maybe some of the aftermath of some of those winners or losers and who they might get next. Z, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, well, I just for the Chandler and Gaethje fight, I mean, yeah, I just want to agree that it was probably one of the best fights. Definitely one of the best 3-round fights I've ever seen. Absolutely, completely entertaining from the very beginning to end. Chandler, actually, he's obviously a crazy entertainer. I like his attitude; it's amazing, but he kind of went away from some of his technical responsibilities, I would say, their second, third round. Yes, he was getting touched up, but he was hurting Justin as well. And I think if he'd kind of kept his mind a little bit more focused there, I think he could have pulled out the win. Who knows, right? But he started to really kind of put his chin out there a little bit too much. I think he was also, I've heard at least that he had broken his hand, or not broke, well, maybe broken it, at least hurt his hand in some way. He stopped throwing it at some point in the fight. I have to go back and rewatch it to know exactly when, but that is something that I heard online as well. So that might have had something to do with it, that he was losing, had basically lost some of his weapons that he was able to use there. So, and his own leg was pretty chewed up as well. But that some of those fights, those huge hyped up ones, Ngannou and Lewis and things, they usually actually don't live up to the hype, right? This one certainly did, and more. And I think it's a lot to do with some of these kind of weight classes, right? 155, 145, even the welterweight division we were just talking about, right? They very rarely kind of put on boring fights at this point. That the guys are so well rounded at everything that they're able to really attack each other's weaknesses and force the other person to respond in ways that they might not have had to do before. So it's just a really exciting. Lots of people were saying it's one of the best cards of the year and things like that. I was kind of tempering that a little bit. I don't agree with that as much. Like, people was like top to bottom, amazing card, and it was in general. But to kind of outrightly say I think that Chandler and Gaethje fight just got people a little too high on it. But it was a great card. It really was. And that fight in particular, is going to stand out to everyone for the next 10 years, probably, right? We're going to still remember that, like the Lawler and Rory McDonald fight, right? The second one, I guess it would be, if I believe they fought twice. But anyway, so that's where kind of my thoughts were on it.
Hans?
Yeah, I agree with Z. I think Chandler either was hurt or actually at work we were talking. Jason Brown had a really good insight. Jason, if you're listening, I really agreed with you there. He knew he was losing, so he just wanted to make it as entertaining as possible and just have that like fan recognition, just to be that, all out war scrapper guy that hopefully the UFC can continue to build his brand. And like, that's, in my opinion, very, very smart. It's a great way to make a career, but the damage that he took, I was even watching the premise fight where his leg got blown up and he couldn't even stand. He was like falling in the corner. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that was a few years back too. It's like, how much longer can you continue to do that to your body and like perform, and not just perform like on the fight night, but then all these training camps and all that, right? They're sparring, they're rolling around on the mat. Like, you're taking damage there too. So, I mean, I hope the guy can stick around for a few more years, but that's kind of in the back of my head. Like, I'm kind of worried, like, how's his durability going to be? I might just start betting against him every time now, knowing that he's just out there to like impress fans and put on a good show, and not necessarily going to get the win. But yeah, it's kind of wild. He had that crazy high brand coming in from Bellator, and then he's gone 1-2 in his first 3 fights, obviously against the top of the division. But it just goes to show how much the UFC is on a different level than some of these other promotions, right? So
Yeah, fantastic. I agree with everything.
yeah. Well, what about some of the other fights, Zoni? Did any of those stick out to you? I know
Yeah.
some of the dancing and
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Chris Barnett was awesome. Obviously, it was John Volante's last fight, and he's fought over in UAE Warriors in the last year and a half. And I knew he had a bunch of fights, and I kind of knew who he was, but I hadn't watched him before. And he just knocks this guy out quick, and his dancing after, one of the best little videos I've seen. I'm like, this is crazy. And then the UFC signs him, and they throw him to Ben Rothwell right away. It didn't go that well, but came out and spinning wheel kick and showed his athleticism, that flip landing on his ass, and then just the dancing and positivity, getting the crowd going and saying, Jean Volante, let's give it to him. It's his last fight. Like, just pretty classy, very like positive guy with a bit of skill. That was a sick knockout. He got $50K for it, and that was sweet. The other one would be Billy Q and Shane Burgos. Following up the Chandler and Gaethje fight is no small task, and people will forget about that fight because how good the Chandler Gaethje one was. But it would have been fight of the night on this card if they weren't on it easily. So shout out to both guys. That was really tight.
yeah, very close. And then Rose getting the win. I think while we called it perfectly, we went back and listened to the episode to make sure. But we got to toot our own horn, I think, a little bit there for calling the decision. But that was a tight, very close, competitive fight, and it almost could have went either way. But yeah, Rose, I think, had that edge. And of course, the final fight, Colby again, he made it close. He stuck with Usman, but obviously just outclassed there. And Usman's just on that next level. So what do you guys see maybe next? I know we did talk about Usman already earlier, but like, even for Rose, what do you think is next for her and her defending?
If the UFC can 100% push Carla Esparza aside for one more fight, then it's going to be Marina Rodriguez, who's looked unreal. Obviously beat Mackenzie Dern recently. and she's the number one contender next. But I really, other than Carla Esparza, but I think they're going to give it to her. It's a rematch from Tough back in the day, when Rose had long hair and looked more pretty, and not that she's not that now, but she actually, changing her name to Thug and shaving her head, and she's more committed on the craft and not trying to earn extra dollars like Paige Van Zant and all these extra people. So she's a true fighter, and earned that win. And I think Esparza is next, and then maybe Rose walks into the sunset and goes and does her farmer stuff. You never know, but yeah, no, she looked fantastic again. She's awesome.
Yeah, I think UFC. I get the feeling that UFC is actually trying to push Rodriguez a little bit more. I feel like they're not gonna. I don't think they really like Esparza, and I think they're actually gonna set up Rodriguez. Well, we'll see. Obviously, like we'll get to find out, but
I hope they do.
Yeah. Well, you hope Rodriguez, because I actually would like to see Wei Li versus Rodriguez first. That would be a fucking baller striking fight. And that's a much better matchup for Wei Li as opposed to Rose's type of striking. So I think, and then set up Carla. But after that, there's not a whole lot for Rose to be doing, right? Maybe Mackenzie Dern, if she kind of continues finishing people with her jiu-jitsu and stuff, then maybe. But I don't really see too many other people waiting in the wings here, too many up-and-comers at that weight class at this point, right? So maybe one or two more fights for her and she's done.
Yeah, I think so. And I actually really like the Wei Li Rodriguez fight. I'd love to see that. I like Rodriguez with her length there though, but it'd be tough to see Wei Li lose 3 times in a row, even with that competition. So it would be a really good fight. Tisha Torres, hopefully she can get another win or two. She's pretty dangerous, but in terms of that weight class, it's fairly shallow.
Yeah, agreed. Totally forgot. I guess it was buried on the prelims, but the debut of Alex Pereira. Just wanted to touch on that because we were pretty high on that guy, right? In his, I guess, accomplished kickboxing career. What do you think UFC does with him? Do you think they give him cans for a few more fights? Do you think they test him? He's not a young guy by any stretch. So what do you think? Are they going to fast track him in the middleweight division? What?
Yeah. So if we were talking before, actually, someone said another promotion, I forget what it was. They earned, I don't know, 75K or something, and Dana White's like, we actually pay someone 750K on the prelims, and the guy that I think they gave as like a signing bonus to bring him over from Glory is Alex Pereira, and it wasn't on like the salaries in the next few days. I'm just talking about luring him over like transfers, like in soccer. You have to pay the transfer fee. Kickboxing's different than the UFC, and maybe he's still a part of Glory and all that stuff, but that's my guess. And in terms of who I think they're going to give him next, I would say like somewhere in the vicinity of top 15. You don't want to go too high. Just you don't want him to lose this early. I see some names near the top 15. I'm not even going to say he should fight one of them next. I think someone just outside the top 15.
What would be your guess, Z? Would you agree with Sony on that, or do you think it was someone else?
Yeah, no, I'm not too familiar on this particular. I didn't see that particular fight, so I'm not too sure on that one. But so I can't really comment. Sorry on that particular thing. Yeah,
so I guess the TLDR on that one is he was a really good kickboxer who beat Izzy twice, and is the only person to knock out Izzy ever. And people weren't sure, right? Like he comes into it, no real ground game. If he gets taken down, he's going to be a fish out of water. But of course, what was it? Zone of first? No, I think it was second round knockout.
No, it was first. It was
first round. Yeah. So like he just kind of, shut down all the haters. And I don't know if he can make a run at the belt or anything like that, but I wouldn't mind seeing him against the top level grappler. Just, how they always say matchups make fights. high-end kickboxer versus a high-end grappler, something, right? I don't know. 750K. My only other guess would be Hezbollah for that. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for his appearance, right?
yes, or just a few fake like viral videos at the side of the octagon or whatever, right? So,
Yeah, he was like kicking that other little guy, like the less
yeah.
popular one,
Yeah.
or whatever his name is. I don't know. I don't know. They actually seem like they don't like each other. Like,
They
so I
hate
don't know.
each other.
They're actually good actors, or it's real. I don't know.
I don't know. I saw a little video today with him and that guy doing like a Muslim rap or something. It was like a duel off or something. And
Yeah,
it's
Diss track.
hilarious. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty nuts.
Well, good for them. Like they've obviously turned, like they're making money off it somehow, I'm sure. So
I've got a name just to throw to you. I was just trying to check and see if for Perez's next fight, I'd give him Misha Serkunov, the Canadian. He's coming off like a loss in the middleweight division. He dropped down from light heavyweight. He just lost to Jocko a few weeks ago. I mean, that's somebody that's like maybe 20th in the division and is trying to get a win at middleweight, but both of them are essentially. So I think that'd be a pretty good matchup.
Absolutely. Well, I think we covered all we needed to there on hot headlines. So everyone knows what time it is. It's time to get ahead of that book so we can meet you at the cashier around midnight, Saturday night, get those withdrawals ready, stuff that bank account. Seaballs, start us off, kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, to quickly recap, last week had a much better performance on easy lines, getting us back on track. Hopefully you followed all those overs that we had on the main card, because I think, well, all the ones that we said pretty much happened. Currently sitting at a record of 142 wins, 95 losses, winning rate of 59.91% officially. So just below our goal of 60. But even if we do get there, we're not stopping. As I said, we'll continue to look to improve. But focusing on this weekend, have an amazing main event. Featherweight fight between Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez, possibly title eliminator fight. I'd love to see Holloway fight Volkanovski again, so that's good with me. Not too much of in-depth analysis for this one, but just kind of tail to tape per se. Max Holloway. Actually, I was surprised to see is that Yair Rodriguez and Holloway are at least listed at 5'11", both of them. So they're same height. Who knows what that actually is going to look like in the standoff, right? Whatever it is tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, we'll kind of see how that goes. 69-inch reach for Holloway, 71 for Yair Rodriguez, right? So that's actually a little bit closer than I thought as well. I thought Yair was going to have a much larger reach. So he is certainly going to have that length, which we all know about his striking prowess. But Holloway is Holloway. There's a reason why he's a huge favorite here. I will say, though, he's a little bit too big of a favorite. There's no value there. Minus 700 currently, with Rodriguez at plus 500. If anything, I like the value of Rodriguez by finish at plus 750. That looks all right to me if you want to, get on anything for value here. Or Holloway plus 100, right? I on decision. Plus 100 for decision. Not much value there, but that's the solid bet, really, that if you actually want to make some money, I think that's really where it goes. Holloway's never been a finisher. He always has been a volume puncher, right? He doesn't really, even Calvin Kattar, right? He butchered his face, but he couldn't really put him away, right? He doesn't have that power. But I don't think he's going to be able to touch up Rodriguez as much as he was with Calvin. I was certainly surprised by that performance, though. So I'm ready to eat those words. But I'm guessing Rodriguez is going to be better at staying on the outside and dodging more of the punches than Calvin did. So, yeah, Holloway plus 100, Yair Rodriguez plus 750. For the finish as a value bet. if you want to go the over for the fight to go the distance, -125. If you don't love Holloway, or kind of more up in the air about who the winner's going to be, I think that's a very fair bet to make as well. Again, -125, fight to go to the distance. But that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of my plays here, boys. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, all I'm going to say is Holloway last time against Cater had over 700 strikes, and this time he says he wants to exceed 900 strikes. So if that's going to happen, then it's going to have to go 5 rounds for that to happen. So I agree with the +100 decision, and I'm going to say I already did put a little sprinkle on +750 finish for Yair Rodriguez.
Yep. I think it's 2, maybe 3 unit play on Holloway via decision. Little tidbit here. The last time Holloway got a finish, Z-Balls and I were in the crowd screaming our heads off at the Air Canada Center back in 2017. And that was a doctor stoppage versus Ortega. So it wasn't even a true like knockout or anything. So yeah, last 5 fights, all decisions, wars. You're right. He kind of just peppers guys and, uses his length, and I see that happening again. So let's lock that in. Little sprinkle on here, but nothing too heavy, that's for sure. I think Zony's got a couple plays there too on some of the earlier fights.
On the prelims, early prelims, the undercard, whatever you want to call it, it is +200 for Sean Woodson by finish. Woodson said he's going to KO him, and I actually thought that earlier on in the week before he came out with that statement. So that just solidified it for me. Also on the under prelims, we have Miguel Baeza. So he's coming back after that unbelievable fight against Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio ended up, I don't know how, winning the 3rd round and stealing that fight. Baeza was undefeated before that. This is a step back in competition. Chaos Williams he's fighting. I don't know how it's going to finish, so I'm going to go -138 money line. So there's no crazy value. You might want to sprinkle it in with something else. And I think the last one was the co-main event, Ben Rothwell and Rogerio de Lima. It gets to a point in time where, your reactions are slower. And I've been seeing that with Rothwell, even though he beat our boy, Chris Barnett. He's getting up there in age. And I just think Rogerio de Lima is going to catch him in something. It could be a kick. It could be a body shot. I think he's going to finish Ben Rothwell. And I'm not sure how much time he's got left in the UFC, but that's +240 for de Lima by finish.
Yeah. That's some great value with those big boys, right? Because just the odds of that finishing by a knockout is very, very likely. So lock that one in, guys. I'm just putting them here together in a parlay. So you've got 4 of our plays. Just to recap: Holloway by decision, Rodrigo de Lima by finish, Baeza by money line, and Woodson by finish. That's looking at a +3,423. Your $10 1 unit play pays out $352.
Wow.
Sounds delicious.
That's really delicious.
So you can send us an e-transfer and our share of the winnings, a little finder's fee when you guys hit that Saturday night. But enjoy that card, everyone. Make sure to tune into Bellator as well. And cheer on our boy as he looks to go 13-0. And we'll catch you very, very soon for episode 69.
Next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have on undefeated Bellator fighter. He's 12-0. He's got a big fight coming up on November the 12th. Justin J-Train Gonzalez, how's it going today?
Going great, my man. It's going great. Thanks for having me on. I got my training in, got my dinner in, so now it's time to relax and just enjoy the rest of the night. How about yourself? You doing good?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm a high school teacher and back in the classroom, so excited about that. Got a baby coming in a couple of weeks here. It's my second child, so I'm excited about that. And actually, the due date's the day before you fight. So yeah. So we'll see what happens, but excited for that.
Really, you should be. That's a big accomplishment. It's awesome, man. That's exciting.
Yeah, and looking forward to your fight, to be honest. Just take us back a little bit, how you got into MMA and growing up, what kind of other, activities, sports, stuff like that that you were into.
Man, let me think here. So I played all kinds of sports as a kid. I started to get in trouble in school. It's funny, man. It's kind of went full circle. I was getting in fights, and for something I liked fighting, man. I don't know. I don't know why. So me and some of my friends would go outside after school and we'd let the kind of playground clear out, and we'd have like a backyard fight club, if you will. So we were beating each other up after school, and I started getting in trouble. So my parents were just like, we need to get this guy doing something. I personally wanted to box, and my dad's like, no, I'm not just going to teach you how to continue beating up kids. So he's like, let's try wrestling. I went in thinking this was like WWE. I was like, oh, dude, I'm the Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's go.
My favorite wrestler of all time, by the way.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
So, man, it was really different. I got really humbled, and I just learned a lot, and I love the sport. So ever since I was 8 years old, man, I wrestled. And then how I got into MMA, man, I just went on to wrestle up at UNC. That's actually where I went and wrestled today for my practice. And summer after my freshman year, I just want to do something a little different than just wrestle. So coach just said, as long as I'm training with the team, I can go practice MMA. So me and my buddy went over there for a summer, and by the end of summer, it was like 2 or 3 months in, the coach tells us, like, hey, dude, you guys are actually really fucking good at this. Like, you guys should start taking a fight next month before you guys go back to school. So I told my buddy, I'd do it if you do it. And we both dominated. He got the first round stoppage. I got the second round stoppage. And man, I love this story after, just because I was a broke college kid. I was 19, 20 years old. And shoot, man, people were buying me drinks. Dads were introducing me to their daughters. I made like $800. I sold a bunch of tickets. So I was like, hell yeah, dude, this is the shit. I love it.
Shit. Yeah.
So I just kind of, I fell in love with the sport, man. It was just a new challenge. So whenever I wasn't wrestling, I was training MMA, and I never looked back.
Here we go. Yeah. I want to ask you quick about the backyard fighting. Like, anybody beat you pretty bad, or did you mostly win those kind of fights? Like,
for the most part, like, we would, sometimes there were some older kids, like we were maybe, I don't know, third grade-ish. So like some of the fourth graders would come in, and they'd kind of like see us, they'd jump in, and I took my lumps here and there, but for the most part, I was given the lumps. So I don't know. I think I liked it because I was good at it. Maybe.
Yeah. It just gave you that extra energy. Very few people like have as many amateur fights as you had, and obviously, if anyone looks at your record, undefeated amateur, undefeated pro, very, very impressive. What makes somebody decide to go from amateur to pro? Like, some guys skip all of that and go right to pro. They feel like maybe they had some kickboxing fights or Muay Thai fights or whatever. What made you decide after that many amateur fights it was time to go pro?
Man, I never had intentions on going pro, to be honest. I just wanted to try it and go on my way, just so one day whenever I have kids, I could tell them, like, hey, your old man did that one time, it was awesome. But I think I fell in love with the sport, and I just kept learning and growing and putting it together, and the new challenges. And at one point, my coaches were kind of brought it up, and they're like, hey man, now you're like 6-0. You've beaten some pretty tough amateurs. It's like, I'm not saying you're going to go pro now. And they kind of brought up the idea, and I was like, that's an option. I was like, what the heck? I was like,
Yeah.
but I kind of knew it was just like I was beating people, and I was not just beating them, I was dominating. Like, I think all my amateur fights were stoppages. So not one of them went the distance. And I just kind of started realizing, like, hey, man, you are actually really good at this. And you put in the time, you put in the effort. So, man, this could be a good way to make some extra cash. And you're good at it. You enjoy it. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
So we rolled the dice. We went pro. And even the level at pro, man, I was still kind of doing the same things to a lot of these guys. So then at that point, again, you jumped levels of like, man, how far can we really go with this?
And it's endless for you based on, what's going on right now, based on your next fight here. I did want to ask you quick about the Contender Series. I'm an avid fan of that, and I watch every week, obsessed with that. And you did get the win on there. Unfortunately, you didn't get the contract. How did you feel about that? Did you disappointed? What happened next? And then you signed with Bellator. So in between that Contender Series experience and then signing with Bellator, just what was that mindset there?
There was a roller coaster of emotions, man. I won a series of belts. I was dominant in all my victories, and I might not have gotten the stoppage, but pretty one-sided fight on the Contender Series, much respect to my opponent at the time. But I mean, I almost set a record for the number of takedowns in a fight. I mean, I think I was kind of scrolling through some pictures. I can't quote exactly. I think he had maybe 12 significant strikes to my like 140 or something. Yeah. So I was like, the world knows. The world knew who I am, what I'm capable of. And the one guy that it kind of mattered to most didn't think so. So I was a little upset about it, man. How many times can you get told no, but you're walking through everybody? So I took it a little personal. My coaches kind of told me too, like, hey, man, this isn't the end of the road, man. You got bigger things, and we're going to make him bite those words. We're going to make him eat those words. Yeah. And at some point, maybe he'll have to pay us to get us, I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. Bellator made a sweet offer after I won the LFA belt. There's a couple promotions that were on the hunt, and Bellator just seemed like the right choice. They're cool. They also travel out of the States. They sweetened the deal, gave me a little bit more money. So it was kind of like, all right, let's do this, man. Let's do it,
And they are a great promotion. And my buddy, we went to high school with ever since kindergarten. He's in Bellator, so he says nothing but good things about it.
Absolutely. They're very professional, accommodating. Have no complaints on my end. So
100%. So, big fight coming up here. So Aaron Pico, obviously big name coming into the sport, and then he's had a couple of blips here and there, but it seems like he's on track. He's gotten better. He's more well-rounded. He's dangerous. I'm sure you know that. What do you think about him? How do you think you match up? And just how do you kind of see this fight going without giving any of your own personal, game plans away?
Hey, man, I got a lot of respect for this guy. He's tough. He goes out there and he puts it on the line every time, win or lose. So, man, but I still think he has grown in this game. At first, he was just a tough wrestler, maybe a decent boxer. But, man, he's growing into an MMA athlete, So I still think he's got some holes in his game. Yeah. I think I can find him. I think I can exploit him. And if trends follow, he either knocks somebody out or he gets knocked out. Yeah. So somebody might be ending up on a highlight reel. And my job's to make sure it's not me. So I'm going to go out there and try to add one to mine,
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. So just, with the rankings, he's number 5 right now. You're number 8. There's a lot on the line here. Obviously, we saw AJ McKee, pull off an amazing win. He's obviously had an incredible career so far. The sky's the limit here. So big fight. Excited to watch this, and wish nothing but the best for you. Just to finish off here, we do a between rounds segment. So I'm going to ask you a question. You give me your best answer. Okay. Favorite sport other than MMA?
Ooh, big fan of football. Big fan of boxing.
Do you have a favorite football team and a favorite boxer right now?
Oh man, favorite boxer right now, Tyson Fury. That guy is, man, dude. That guy's so cool.
Shit.
Favorite football player, man, that's a tough one. There's so many to choose from. Tom Brady's doing really well right now.
I am a Bucs fan, so thank you.
You know, you can't argue. That guy's probably the GOAT, you know. But favorite team, the Broncos, for sure. Any Colorado team.
Yeah. Respect that. I'll just throw out there my favorite boxer, up and coming right now. Last weekend got a big W. I'm not sure if you heard of him, Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's very exciting. Big win last weekend. So, favorite cheat meal after a fight?
Oh man, I'm a fat kid at heart, man. I love cookies. Not a big cake guy, but probably a banana split ice cream, dude. That's my love it.
Actually, I haven't had one of those in forever. I'm gonna get one now that you said that. Favorite spot in America. So you mentioned Colorado. Would that be up there?
I've traveled a lot as a kid wrestling, all the way through college. We've traveled a lot. I got to see a lot of really cool places. I really love Colorado. I mean, you got anything from lakes, mountains. I mean, wherever you want. You want to go to the big city, I'm an hour away. If you want to go out to the country, shoot some guns, I'm half an hour away. So you got a wide variety. Snowboarding, hiking, fishing, hunting, whatever you name it, it's here.
Do you shoot any guns or hunt or fish yourself?
I've gone hunting. I don't have my license, my permit, but I've just gone and watched and kind of learned the whole rough go. I love fishing. I just love being outdoors, man. I love shooting guns. I got a couple guns myself, so go out a couple spots and just go shoot. But
me as well. Love it. Do you have like a favorite movie or TV series of all time?
Oh man, I'm a big fan of Gladiator and Troy. I love the Dark Knight movies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, anything up that alley. We just went and watched the new Halloween movie the other day.
How was that? I'm going on Thursday.
It's
okay.
For me, I like the gory killing of seeing how badass Michael Myers can be.
Yeah.
But at the point, I'm like, okay, dude, this guy's a better hitman than John Wick. Keep it realistic, man. I just kind of started to lose a little interest there. But overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm taking my brother. I'm looking forward to it. And just a couple of your favorite MMA fighters of all time.
Oh man, I think myself. Obviously, I'm a big fan of myself. But on a more realistic note, Anderson Silva was one of my favorites, man. That guy was just way before his time, and the things he did for the sport will always be one of my favorites. Good friends with Justin Gaethje. I love the way he fights and puts it out on the line every time, and he goes and performs.
Can't wait for his scrap too.
I really like John Jones. I just really wish he could kind of figure it out on the outside of the cage,
I'm with you there, man. He's my favorite, along with GSP, except John Jones, outside of the ring. He's a lot of demons, so hopefully he can get it on track.
I agree. Hopefully he can figure it out.
Just to finish up, any sponsors, shout outs, or social media?
Man, hey, what's up, guys? Justin J. Train Gonzalez here. If you guys want to follow my journey, you guys can follow my Instagram or my Twitter at jtrain_1991. See a little bit about what I'm doing training-wise. See about me just hanging out with my friends, going out having a beer, hanging out with my nieces and nephews. We'll post some videos of us going snowboard and sometimes doing some skateboarding. I'm a pretty open book. I like to place bets. I like to talk fights and just anything in the mix, man. So if you guys want to check out my journey, give me a follow. Much appreciated.
Awesome. We love to place bets too. That's why we give some betting advice. And last weekend we did pretty well. Perfect on the Bellator card. So if you're listening to this, put your bets on Justin Gonzalez on November the 12th. Going to get a W against Aaron Pico and that hype train. Keep himself undefeated. Thank you so much, bro. Good luck. And this is Hooks and MMA.
Hey, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Anytime.